and welcome to the My RC Life YouTube channel, where we send RCs through the air and then back on the bench to repair. Let's go!
What's going on, everybody? Traxxas Mike from My RC Life. It's been a few since my last video. I've had a handful of parts come in the mail, and I'm ready to make a video of just doing some upgrades. All right, let's get to it. In one of my last videos, I took off this old battery tray hold down clip deal, and I modified one of the longer ones. And then one of my viewers, I can't remember their name, but thank you very much, whoever you are, you know who you are, left it in the comments and told me a little bit, gave me a little bit of information. He let me know that there was a version 2 chassis. This is the longer chassis for the Traxxas Rustler 4x4. Part number 6732R, if you need to know. And yes, right away, you can see it's got much longer battery tray. I think as far as the length of it goes, I think the length is going to be the same, because like it didn't come with like a new drive shaft or tell you needed to get a new drive shaft. I think it's just a reformed battery area. Let's find out. And not to confuse anybody, this is just a Haas body. They do fit on the Rustler chassis because they're kind of the same vehicle. There, are we less confused now? I'm going to start with, I'm going to take this whole front end off. 2 bolts here, and then a bolt here, and then there. I do believe that should unattach most of this front end. 2.5 millimeter. Now the screws coming out of here and the screws coming out of here are different sizes. Put them in different spots. That's what the whole point of having different sections is. And I have a feeling I'm going to be using all of these sections and maybe even a couple more. Thank you to the person who provided me with these awesome parts mats. You know who you are. I use them all of the time, religiously. You got to kind of wiggle it and then slide forward to unhook your drive shaft. You kind of got to pull down a little bit to unhook your steering rack. You got to unhook your steering servo somewhere. The best way to probably do it is steer this and see it puts that bolt right where you can get at it with your Allen wrench. Your whole front end would come right apart. Pull the drive shaft out now. To get the rear end off, 2 bolts here, I do believe. And we flip it over and we got a couple more. And slide right out. Your gear here is gonna slide out of your differential on your rear end there. Now yours may look a little different than this. This is a center diff. Yours may have this, but otherwise it's going to have a slipper clutch. Now what we have to do is we got to put all this into here. We need to order the longer battery tray hold down thingies, and you have to install this guy because this one will not work. See, this one's a big tall guy and this one's just a little short one. It's going to install right up there in that spot. These screw holes are going to be up here, to where on this one it was on the flat here. These ones are kind of up in the narrowed area up here. Okay, we got that attached. Now the battery tray system, these guys, it did come with that, a new pivot point, and 2 screws for them. For that pivot point there. Got the 2 millimeter. Stick that right up through here. All right, there she is. Go ahead and stick that guy up in there. Okay, and we're gonna take our 35 millimeter, because I screwed up the 42 millimeter by chopping it short to make this thicker one fit the old chassis. And we're going to install this pin here, 2mm. Okay, that's installed. Ba-bam! Now we're going to break into our electronics box here. 2mm there. I think we move to a 2.5mm here and remove the cover from our waterproof box. Okay, we're going to unplug our steering channel and our ESC channel. I'm going to want to get down and pull the set screw out of my antenna, which that is a 1.5mm, just a little guy. You don't even have to take it all the way out, just loosen it up a little bit. You should be able to go just like that. Don't lose your seal. Remove the rest of your receiver box. 2mm in 3 places. As you can see, mine has a rock caught in one of the 3 places. I'm going to have to remove my ESC first so I can get in there a little bit better. 2mm. And my ESC is broke free. I'm going to go ahead and undo the wires. We can get it out of here all together. Now you can really see that rock caught in there. But now I can get in here with my pick and get underneath the rock. Bam! Just like that. Next, we want to pull out our servo. Back to the 2.5mm. Pull that guy out. Okay, now we want to move back here to the motor mount and the motor in the cover here. Go ahead and pop off this heat sink I have here. Right in here. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. Right down there, guys. Let's go ahead and take our gear cover off, the one in the middle. Let's just go ahead and take that motor out. And then your motor should be able to move back and forth and pop loose. All right. Oh, there is this one little clamp here that holds the wires, 2mm. Pop that off as well. There, now the motor's out. One more screw right there. 2mm. Ooh, just clogged with crap. There we go. Now it'll come out. There we go, guys. Inspect this bearing. If it's even feeling the minutest little bit of slop, change it. Because it's kind of a bugger to pull this whole thing out. Alright, and it looks like I have found some bearings. That guy right there. Pop this guy out from the back side. Pop that new bearing in there. Ratchet hammer. Bam. We can assemble everything back into this chassis now. Alright, we're going to start with this bad boy. Okay. Now we're not going to tighten this down because we will need to do our gear mesh. Now we want to get this little motor wire clip thing reinstalled. Perfect. Okay, servo. The wires went this way. Okay. Servo is installed. Then we got bottom portion of our waterproof receiver box here. Now I guess we can go ahead and get our ESC reinstalled. Plug in some wires. That's going to go in something like that. Might want to clean off some of this stuff so this gets a good seal. Put some dielectric grease there. Is also another good thing to do. Put your steering servo wire and your ESC wire through this way. And don't forget to put your antenna wire out as well. Alright. Now I used to have all this extra wire hanging down here. I'm going to try to see if I can get it tucked up underneath the box this time. Don't forget your seal. Alright, look, I got all that extra wire tucked up underneath the box this time, so I don't have a bunch of wire hanging around and looped around down here. I like it. Get the antenna jammed down where it's supposed to go, and the little set screw back down in there as well. Perfect. Now the antenna won't pull out. Make sure these wires are flat and in your little slots there. Reinstall this little cap here. Next, I guess I can slide in my center diff or slipper clutch, depending on what you're running. We'll set gear mesh at the end. This is just going to slide back in. This does have a flat, so you may have to like spin the rear tires or spin this gear to get it to click on the flat in there. Like right now, see the it ain't sliding back far enough. But if I spin this, it'll find a spot. Bam. And it slides back all the way. The longer screws go into the top. Shorter ones go into the bottom, obviously. Alright, look at that. We're almost done. Then we're going to attach our front end. Do not forget your drive shaft or you will be tearing it back apart. Slide your drive shaft right in through here. And it has to line up on the splines of that guy there. Then you want to put your front end on. So we're going to kind of put that together, make sure these splines line up. I can't show you on camera exactly, but you might have to like have your finger right there, and you might have to move the drive shaft around a little bit. I see a difference here, guys. This here, wider. Narrower. It don't fit. I think it's probably feasible if you order this part. Something's definitely different there, guys.
1 week later.
Okay, guys, so I finally received some more parts in the mail. Part number 7430R. This is a must-needed part that I didn't realize I needed until I was well into this build. So now we're going to continue on to our Traxxas Rustler upgrade. That one does not fit. This one does. Yippee! Alright, the 2.5 millimeter, 2 bolts. 5 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2.5 millimeter. These 3 and these 2 are different sizes. So like I always remind you, keep an eye on those. Put them in separate areas. 2 bolts right there. Switching back to the 2 millimeter. Okay, that pops out like so. Okay, so we got a bolt here to take out. 2 millimeter. And our pins will come out, and this aluminum piece will come out as well. Our A-arms will be loose from your bulkhead. And then I do believe the bulkhead should come apart. Yes, it does. And then these will slide off your bulkhead now as well. There will be bearings. One of them just fell off. I think there's going to be one on top, one on the bottom. I'm having a little trouble on this left side one here. There we go. Come on, baby. There we go. Got a bearing there and a bearing there. The bottom one stayed on. This one, I can see the seal has fell out of it. Now these bearings don't spin around and around like a wheel bearing, but they do twist back and forth, making your steering smooth. They don't wear out quick, but they can wear out. And I'm willing to bet that there will be 4 tiny little bearings like this in there that I need. Yep, I could already see a couple of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I might as well just go ahead and replace all those while I got it apart. What I also have for this Rustler is some Tekno axle shafts we're going to put in this thing. Tekno actually makes Driveshafts for a Slash or a Rustler. I didn't know that, but hey, you learn something new every day. We're going to go ahead and install these right along with it because, hey, we got it tore apart this far. We might as well put these on at the same time. All right, we're going to buzz these tires off here. Holy cow. Let's get this open here. One thing I really like is Tekno gives you instructions. You know, I mean, I know how to do all this, but what if you didn't? You know, it's nice to be able to have some instructions. Written and picture. Not just for the illiterate, but sometimes it's nice to have a picture to show you exactly how things may go together. Ooh, stickers! Stickers! Okay, I got hex extenders on here. So I got these lug nuts that take the tire off, or I could have just took these off, which I didn't want to take these off because I know they're Loctited on, but I should have because they need to come off anyways because I got to pull these axle shafts out. Actually, it's going to be easier to put these back on because the wheel's going to spin when I try to take them off. So we're going to reinstall the tire. I put a little bit of Loctite stick on it. Okay. Got my 8mm here. There. Now it comes off and leaves the hex extender right on there. Or hex adapter slash wheel widener, whatever you want to call it. Makes it go from this to a 17mm hex. Now that that's off of there, we go to 1.5mm. I gotta loosen up these hexes just a little bit. There. Don't lose your pin. Back to the 2mm, unhook our tie rod end here. Might as well do it on both sides. Alright, now the whole steering rack is out. We can set that off to the side. 1.5mm. That'll pull out our pins out of our plastic axle shafts. Pop that off. Pop this one off. Okay. Now it does look like it comes with a couple bearings, so it looks like you may be reusing two, but you got two new ones. Back to the 2.5. You got a bolt like this, comes out of the bottom. Then this bolt here has to come out. That unhooks it from the A-arm like so. And one more bolt right here that comes out. I like to do these one at a time so I don't mix up the right and the left or whatever. Okay, so that slides out. Bam. That's the one that goes back in place. I'm going to slide that back in. Since these don't have cut threads in them, the bolt actually cuts the new thread into plastic. Sometimes I like to thread it in out here. So, comes time to slide it in there, you'll have something to line up into. Bottom one goes in, and then A-arm slides back in like so. You put your pin back through there. Bam. Do the same to this side. Oh, looks like you don't actually have to take that one out. You can just take them two, and then this will slide out like that. I thought you had to take that out, but looks like you don't. Slide that back in like so. Tap the holes. I turn nice and freely. Seems like it to me. Okay, we need to put these in on the inner part here. We're using the old pin. And now, since when they were in here in plastic, you didn't use Loctite. You don't use Loctite into plastic. But since they're going into metal, we're going to use a little bit of blue Loctite. Okay, I'm having a little trouble getting it on there. I'm guessing there's a little burr on that. Come on now. There we go. I guess that's all you need is a bigger hammer.
You hate him, he's pissing you off. Cries every night like I do. We talk. Same? No, we're talkers in this family, so talk.
Okay. Next side. Maybe this one will slide on easier. Instead of getting with the file, let's just start with the hammer. There we go. Alright. Get that one in there. Okay. Now we're going to be reusing these bearings, but not reusing these because it comes with a new one that's got a bigger hole for the bigger axle stub. Okay, so to assemble these, we simply stick this through here. You gotta line that other hole, you gotta line that up this way. So when you slide this on, you can get this pin in. Put that through. Bam. And then instead of stuffing this into your turnbuckle deal here, instead of putting the bearing into that, I like to put the bearing on here right now, so that way that pin is not going to fall out while you're dinking around and when you turn it like this or whatever. Bam, so that's assembled. Might as well do the next one. That in there. Get that in there. Get our pin. Spin this just right. I know you can't really see it. Okay, that's in. And on with our bearing. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and stick our new, bigger bearing in. There. And on the other side as well. Okay. Now I think I can shove this into the end here. Then get our dog bone in. Same thing with this side. Stiff that in. Get our dog bone lined up. Alright, put that back in. Okay. Might as well get these all in right now. One new bearing. Two new bearings. There, got all four of those in. Now, before we put this rack, the steering rack on and connect the turnbuckles to the end there, like I said, this had instructions on how to do everything. But on the back side, it showed some features this has. Your new steering block allows you to change your bump steer position to one of the 4 locations. I'll probably go somewhere right in the middle, 1 or 2. I'll probably go with 1. And it does have its own bolts for this. These stock bolts will not be used because they're not long enough. Now it's got 2 positions, one just like this one did. Mine was on the outside position, which is going to give you more steering, I imagine. So that's what I'm going to go on this one too, on the outside position. There. Okay. Same deal here on this side. So that's all put together now. I got my track power gear grease sent to me by a sponsor. Nothing wrong with a little bit of fresh grease in there. Okay, so we want to start assembling here. We're going to take this, put these on first, because they need to be underneath that yoke to the front end there, that spline. Slide those down on. And this is just going to click right on up in there. And you want those to sit right down tight. You can kind of see them line up with the holes there. Make sure everything's moving freely, which seems like it is. Then you can start throwing your pins in here. Okay, those are all the way back. Slide this guy back in place, and it can go up and down a little bit. You want to shove it all the way up. And this, I wasn't able to get my screw to start because this goes a certain way. I had it flipped 180. If you flip it this way, then your screw lines up. So if you're having problems getting your screw to start there, flip it. Next, we want to put our flatheads in there. Okay, then this one here, make sure that thing goes in there. Two bolts through there. Time to put our hexes on. Okay, A little bit of blue Loctite on here. Slide our tire on. And we got these guys here. Loctite. Bolt. Lug nut. These two bolts here that go on top of the steering rack. Okay, now moving on to the rest here. And this is just going to click in like that. Twist this way here. Get our bolt. Get it all lined up. Okay. Tighten it up here. Okay. Perfect. Two bolts here, and then one here, and one here. Oh, guys, we missed a step. I forgot to put my drive shaft in. We got a rear wheel drive Rustler. Dang it. Well, that's okay, guys, because we're going to go ahead and install our rear CVDs in there anyways. So we'll just take the rear back apart and go along with it. I'm going to go ahead, pop that out right now, slide the drive shaft in right now, get it in place so we do not forget it. I'll get this back in there. Okay, now that's back in. We can set this off to the side. Now, I want to put these new axle shafts in. It's going to be just like the front, so I'm just going to get to it. Okay, well that's all together. Cool. Okay guys, now we got the Tekno drive shafts installed front and rear, and where we could normally only fit a battery like this, look at that difference there. Now we can fit big boys like that in there, or even bigger, maybe even something this big. You might have to grind the side of that off if you want to go something this big. But this is a 4-cell. We don't run this on 4-cell anyways. I can definitely fit a lot of our longer batteries in there now, which is really nice. Alright guys, I hope you liked that video with the upgrading of the Rustler, or the Hustler as we like to call it. It's a mix between a hoss and a Rustler nowadays. Okay, well that's it for today guys. I'm Traxxas Mike from My RC Life, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching another episode of My RC Life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.